Well, credit where credit is due. The ESA has announced the dates for E3 2021. The next E3 conference after the one that's happening this year will apparently be taking place from June 15th to June 17th, 2021. Isn't that just great? Begs the question, though, considering that the ESA has said that they're going to be creating some kind of online experience for this year, but they have yet to elaborate on what exactly that is. Announcing the dates for 2021 only makes it weirder that they haven't said what's happening this year. I think, to be fair, I'm not just trying to kick the ESA while they're down. And they are down. But this is probably a direct response to the IGN announcement that we were talking about yesterday. And fair enough, they want to remind everyone, okay, E3 still exists. It's still going to happen. Don't worry, E3 is not going anywhere. But let's come on. E3, do we believe for a second that this E3 that's planned for 2021 is going to have the kind of impact that E3 typically has in the industry? I find that very hard to believe. And I'm sorry, it's just my prediction, and not just my prediction, but my prediction is basically, considering E3 has been on kind of a downward trend for a while, people have been questioning its relevance for a long time. Nintendo stopped doing a full press conference many years ago. Sony didn't even show up last year, wasn't going to show up anyway this year. Microsoft has been making good use of that time. But so many companies, Rockstar hasn't participated in E3 for a long time, right? More and more huge companies, EA completely abandoned E3 quite a long time ago to do their own competing event. Well, whatever. I really wonder, given the circumstances we find ourselves in, with E3 not happening the way that we know it this year, I think a lot of these companies that were still buying this booth space, are going to be looking at their checkbooks at the end of the year going like, wait a minute, how much money did we save by not having an E3 booth? And what impact did it have on our bottom line? Like, it'll be disguised somewhat with all the other tumultuous things happening this year. But I think a lot of companies are going to have this wake-up call that E3 is completely irrelevant to marketing to their consumers. I just don't really see a world in which E3 continues to be relevant, especially as they've been shifting it more and more and more into a consumer-focused event. PAX already exists and already does that better than they do. Gamescom already exists. And for a long time, PAX, particularly PAX West, was just an opportunity for all these companies to reuse their E3 booths again. Well, assuming that PAX even happens this year, maybe it won't, PAX West, it's not a big jump to just say, hey, why don't we have that booth that we were making for E3? Why don't we just cut out the middle man and just put it into PAX? Just make it the PAX booth. And it doesn't even have to be the same size. It's just a bunch of kiosks for the most part, right? Or maybe a giant theater area to show just a loop of whatever the trailer is or whatever the people go to PAX for these days. ESA has already said, that next year's events will be reimagined, which is a bad sign. It's so hard to imagine that this is an event that anyone's going to care about. And let's not forget, like we talked about yesterday, the vultures, they're flying overhead. IGN is showing up this year with their own event that sure sounds like it's going to be a heck of a lot cooler than anything the ESA can put together in terms of a live stream event. IGN has a lot more experience making online content that people want to tune into than the ESA does, especially since they've pawned it off to Jeff Keighley every year. Yeah. I don't know. And it's just such a weird move to respond to IGN's announcement with the dates for the 2021 show. Right? The question remains, what the heck is the 2020 show going to be? Particularly if every partner that you previously announced backed out of it. I don't know. I assume that this story is just going to keep developing right up until whatever E3 ends up happening. And it'll I was going to say it'll be interesting, but let's be honest, it might not be all that interesting. Anyway, see you tomorrow.